Okay, we're going to get this thing on the road. Good afternoon. We are here to induct the class of 2023 into the Western Washington University Athletics Hall of Fame. This is the 46th Western Hall of Fame induction ceremony. The first came in 1968, making it the second oldest amongst all colleges in the state of Washington. At first, Western's Hall of Fame inductions were held in conjunction with other events. It was in 1989 when athletic director Linda Goodrich and alumni director Chris Goldsmith, who I know is here, got together and standalone ceremonies began. Plaques were made up for all the previous inductees for the Hall of Fame, and the original Hall of Fame room was in the Viking Commons Dining Hall, and later it moved to the floor in the Viking Union. And now, through the generosity of David and Carol Robinson, who are also here, we have a beautiful Hall of Fame room in Carver Gym. Today's four inductees brings the Hall's membership to 159 over the 121 history of Western athletics. As you can see from the center poster photo behind me, the first ceremony was held in January of 1968 at the halftime of a men's basketball game at Old Carver Gym. It's kind of nice to be able to say Old Carver Gym. It's been my good fortune to have been at every Western Hall of Fame induction. It's one of my favorite days, and I can tell you everyone has been special in its own way. So here we go. Introducing our first speaker, retiring at the end of March, he is completing his 10th and final year as Director of Athletics for the Vikings, and 33rd year overall as a Western Athletics Administrator. During his decade as Athletics Director, 14 teams have reached the Final Four nationally, including 3 national champions, and 46 have won conference titles. And in 5 of the last 6 years, the Vikings have earned the NCAA President's Award by having the academic success rate of 90% or better. In the year Western missed out, it was by 1 percentage point. I could go on about his 20 years as the head golf coach. And if that isn't enough, he has led athletics through the renovation of Carver Gym and COVID. A huge booster of the Hall of Fame, it is my privilege to introduce Steve Hart.
Thank you, Paul. We should have compared notes before that. My speech is going to be half as long now. Well, good afternoon, and readers, signal, time to retire. Good afternoon, and welcome to the Western Washington University Athletics Hall of Fame ceremony. As Paul said, this is always one of the best days of the year for athletics. Today we'll be celebrating the careers of 4 legendary Vikings as we induct them into the Hall of Fame. These individuals have laid the foundation for what Paul just shared in terms of the success that we've had recently. We're arguably in the most successful time of our history, and as Paul had mentioned, just in the last half dozen years, we've won 3 national championships, had 4 runners-up, won 32 conference championships, and been on the President's Award for Academic Excellence 5 out of those 6 years. So not only are our student athletes getting it done on the field of play or in the water, or on the course or on the track, but they're also getting it done most importantly in the classroom, boasting a 91% academic success rate and exceeding the 90% in 5 of those 6 years and 89.5% the one year that we didn't hit 90. So it's pretty remarkable when you think about what's happening right now, and we're very fortunate to have been able to come out of COVID and pretty much pick up where we left off after we lost an entire year of competition. And so very, very proud of our student athletes, and particularly proud of our coaches and proud of our administrative staff for sticking together in what's arguably maybe one of the more challenging times of all of our lives. And so, but the most important thing during that time was that they were able to continue to support their student athletes and maintain that consistency for them that they needed over that really challenging period. And it's paying off now in terms of what we're seeing in terms of the results of the teams and what they're doing in the classroom and on the field of play. But again, I go back to these four individuals and the foundation that they all laid for us in terms of what they did during their careers and what they've done over the past half century in terms of creating a championship environment and a championship culture on our campus. And so for that, I am very grateful for all of you and having you here. And I want to send on behalf of our student athletes, coaches, and staff, I want to thank you for what you guys have done and providing that pathway to excellence. So congratulations to the four of you. We look forward to inducting you into the Western Washington University Athletics Hall of Fame. Enjoy the program. Thank you.
Today we induct two of the most accomplished female athletes in school history. It's very appropriate that they are being inducted this year because Western is celebrating the 50th anniversary of Title IX. Completing the class are a male athlete who, through incredible grit and determination, has forged an impressive professional career. And finally, a longtime Western staffer. So let's begin. Our first inductee this afternoon is Audrey Schwind, who competed in women's rowing at Western from 2006 to 2009. And here we go.
On October 17, 2010, Audrey Schwind represented Western Washington University and Division II of the NCAA at the 20th Annual NCAA Woman of the Year Awards banquet in Indianapolis, Indiana. She was one of 30 finalists out of nearly 500 nominees, 10 coming from each of the NCAA's 3 divisions of competition. The NCAA Woman of the Year Award, one of the most prestigious the NCAA bestows, was established in 1991 to honor female student athletes who have completed their eligibility and demonstrated excellence in academics and athletics while showing extraordinary community service. As a rower at Western, Audrey, then having the last name Coon, helped the Vikings to 3 consecutive national team titles from 2007 to 2009 and was a first-team Collegiate Rowing Coaches Association All-American in 2009. During her 3 years seated in the varsity 8 shell, Western did not lose to a Division II or III school. She was the assistant team captain in 2008 and team captain in 2009. Academically, Audrey maintained a 3.96 grade point average at Western, earning a degree in Spanish and elementary education and graduating magna cum laude in December of 2009. Among her academic awards, she twice earned College Sports Information Directors of America Academic All-America Honors and was 3 times a COSIDA Academic All-District Selection for District 8, which includes Canada and the states of Alaska, Arizona, California, Hawaii, Nevada, Oregon, Utah, and Washington. Audrey, who grew up in Kenai, Alaska, and graduated from Kenai Central High School, was Western's Female Scholar Athlete of the Year in 2007, 2008, and 2009. And she shared the school's Female Athlete of the Year award in 2009 and was Western's Co-Female Athlete of the Decade for 2000 to 2009. Throughout her Viking career, Audrey was active in numerous community service and campus projects, serving on the Western Student Athlete Advisory Committee and working on the Western Women's Rowing Annual Food Drive. Audrey threw the ceremonial first pitch at a Seattle Mariners game on June 25, 2009, where that year's national title-winning team was honored, and she received Faces in the Crowd recognition in the August 18, 2008 issue of Sports Illustrated. Following graduation from Western, Audrey was a novice rowing coach at NCAA Division III Lewis and Clark College in Portland, Oregon for 1 year, and a graduate assistant and assistant coach over 2 seasons at NCAA 1, University of Portland, while taking postgraduate courses. She also worked part-time at the Portland Park and Recreation Department's Adaptive and Inclusive program, working one-on-one with children having special needs. In 2013 and 2014, Audrey was a finalist for the NCAA Walter Byers Postgraduate Scholarship, receiving the $7,500 postgraduate scholarship in 2014. Audrey then attended Boise State University, where she earned a Master of Science degree in kinesiology. She won the 2015-16 Boise State Distinguished Master's Thesis Award for her submission, Predicting College Women Rowers' Motivation and Persistence, a Self-Determination Theory Approach. Audrey also obtained a certificate in college teaching at Boise State and was an adjunct instructor in its kinesiology department, teaching exercise psychology. Audrey's husband, Adam, is a physician at a Boise, Idaho hospital, completing his family practice residency in 2015. They have 2 children, daughter Eloise, 3, and son Emil, 1. Now, as a stay-at-home mom, Audrey owns a small business, teaching music classes to families with kids age 1 to 5, managing to combine her passion for teaching, singing, and physical activity into one area. Western Athletics Hall of Fame inductee, Audrey Schwind.
Introducing Audrey, our head coach, John Fuchs, who is in his 25th year heading the Western rowing program, directing teams to 8 national titles. He will be followed by Audrey's former Viking teammate and best friend, Julia Munger. Come on up, John.
Wow. Got this on, got the gunk, right, February. I think you're all safe back there. Congratulations, inductees. I guess I'm the leadoff batter. It's always good, never was. But Paul, were you there? I was there. You were there? Yeah, I was there. Wow. Still in black and white. That's how long Paul's been here. What do you say about everything that's going on? Today's always a great day, and very proud of Audrey, and good to see some of those alums. I mean, but I think that everybody that's gotten inducted, that is getting inducted or was inducted, something extraordinary happened. Extraordinary performance, on or off the playing field, the water, the court, whatever it was, something extraordinary happened, and I think these 4 represent that. And for rowing, I mean, for us, we have 4 cornerstones that we talk about all the time. You got your education, you got to nail it. I mean, if you're not eligible, you're out. Your health, your well-being, physically, mentally. If you're sick, you're not taking care of your sleep patterns or your nutrition, you're out. Your athleticism, if you're not staying fit, you're not training in the off season, you can't keep up, you're out. And then you have your social inter-team relationships that you've got to get along with your teammates. You've got to be respected. People want to be in the boat with you, and so if you don't accomplish that, you're out. So it's 3 out of 4 doesn't do it. You've got to get all 4 in order to do it really well at what we do out here. And I'm sure it's very similar in all sports. Audrey nailed every single one of them. I mean, you could just go right through that list. Every single education. Yep, 3.96. Yep. social. Oh, can we go back? Can we go back to that other one, the last one? I don't know if they're going to be able to do it. Anyway, that smile on the boat, you wanted to be in the boat with Audrey. You did. Yeah. I mean, look at everybody. They're pretty serious. They're okay, but Audrey's, she's having a good time, right? Okay. And health-wise, I think you were there almost every single practice, and she was always fit. Every year got fitter, stronger. She just nailed it. And I think that's what kind of embodies the Hall of Fame. They got their act together. I always say that. You got your act together. That means you're up there. But I think you got to always have a story, right? But I think the one thing that's really great is, okay, it's still up there, is we went through that phase from 2005 to 2008 where we won 4 in a row. Boom, 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 boom. And there were 4 seniors. That must have been 2007, I'm thinking. But there were four kids that went through all 4 years, never lost to a D2 opponent, won the national championship every year. Well, then they graduated. Well, then it was Audrey's senior year. And Carlo, I don't think Carla's here. But we're thinking, okay, that was great. That doesn't happen. We're going to regroup. We're going to retool, rephase, just get going again. And then in comes this crazy group of freshmen. They're all sitting over there. You can go back to that other one. But by the time we got to about this point in 2009, there were 4 freshmen novice in the varsity boat. And that doesn't happen. Yeah, there's Woolsey, hands up. Walking on her hands up. She was. But I think that what really kind of completed Audrey's career was her senior year. She stepped into that leadership role. Team captain, high GPA. People wanted to row with her. Super fit, rowing in the 7th seat, and they went on 10-0. And we never thought that could happen. Paul calls me in New Jersey. He's like, dude, what happened? I had no words, right? I mean, it was just like, Audrey was a very important part of that next phase that just kept going. I mean, yeah, it doesn't happen. So, congratulations. You're awesome. So I guess now I get to introduce Julie Munger, also known as Hungy Mungy.
It is with so much honor for this opportunity and pride for my friend that I'm here to introduce you all to Audrey Coon Schwind, affectionately known as Audie or Audie Coon to her rowing teammates. Audrey is an incredibly accomplished woman in rowing, and while I'm excited to share some of her achievements with you, I mostly want to focus on how she's also an amazing teammate and one of my very best friends, one that I could have not made it through my rowing collegiate career without. Audrey and I knew each other before we were rowing teammates. My fellow Alaskan and I had worked at the same summer camp in Anchorage right before heading to our first year at Western. However, we actually didn't particularly care for each other at the time. We knew we were both headed to Western, and when our summer jobs ended, we gave each other a half-hearted, let's hang out when we're both in Bellingham, and then left without exchanging any contact information. A few days after arriving at Western, I decided to go to the rowing team information session in Miller Hall. As I sat down at the info session, I noticed that who else but Audrey was seated beside me. I'd underestimated how lonely I would be in a new state where I didn't know anyone. And even after a relatively cool departure a few weeks earlier, I don't know that I'd ever been as excited to see a familiar face. We gave each other a huge hug and immediately started catching up on everything that had happened since we'd arrived at school. By the end of the information meeting, Audrey had convinced me to join the rowing team, and we kicked off 3 years of an inseparable friendship. Or should I say, almost inseparable. On our first day of rowing practice, Audrey, who'd previously taken a Learn to Row class in Alaska, busted out some rowing terminology. Since the rowing team was mostly walk-ons that were new to the sport, our novice coach was impressed and promptly moved Audrey up to the varsity team. We didn't actually row another day together during our novice year. But Audrey and I made sure to do every afternoon workout together. Our first fall in Washington, we kept being surprised by the differences of being out of Alaska. We learned that when we did hill workouts on Zeehelm Hill, the deer would not aggressively attack us like a moose might. We were surprised to find out that we'd be rowing on the water for the entire season because Lake Samish would not, in fact, freeze solid over the winter. And we found out the hard way that despite the novelty of berries still growing in October, we shouldn't gorge ourselves on blackberry at the base of Taylor Stairs before running up and down them 10 times. We'd also do our weight workouts in the Carver gym weight room, where we would fake yell in an intense voice to each other the saying on the wall, "The big game of next week, month, or year is being won or lost right now." The thing is, even though that saying was pretty cheesy, Audrey really always was training intensely for the next big race. Her dedication was impressive, and it made me a better athlete to train alongside her. Audrey also carried the same dedication to her schoolwork. Audrey and I did a lot of homework and studying together, and I always marveled at her ability to buckle down, as she would cheerily say. It paid off because Audrey went on to win numerous academic accolades for athletics, including Western's Female Scholar Athlete of the Year in 2007, 2008, and 2009. Our second year at Western, Audrey and I moved into a house together with some friends. We ended up sharing a bedroom to save money and further cemented our fate to spend not only most of our waking hours, but also our sleeping hours together. You might think that we'd get bored or annoyed with each other, and occasionally we did, but spending so much time with Audrey was a delight. In the few years between leaving our families behind in Alaska and getting together with our future husbands, Audrey was my chosen family. We'd eat together, walk to school together, and do our homework together. She'd even make me peanut butter and jelly sandwiches every morning after practice for me to take to school for lunch. Our first year living together, when Audrey was a sophomore, she made the Varsity Gate boat. This is where she stayed for the next 3 years, never losing a race to a non-Division I team and winning 3 consecutive Division II national championships with our crew. Even before she became an official leader on the team, Audrey led by example during our cold, dark, early morning practices through her work ethic, optimism, and occasionally serenading us with her lovely voice. When Audrey broke her wrist during the fall season of her junior year, she worked so hard doing lane practices so that she could come back to the varsity boat strong and ready to go, despite the fact that her intense workouts were causing her sweat-stained cast to develop quite the stench. The year after I graduated, Audrey was a senior and the team captain. I know the weight of leading a team toward a continued win streak weighed heavily on her, especially with a young crew after many experienced rowers had graduated. Despite Audrey's worries, they went on to win their 5th consecutive championship. I believe Audrey's optimism and work ethic allowed her to lead by example and set the team up for success. Since Audrey's final season at Western, she's continued to be recognized for amazing contributions to our rowing team and to give back to the sport of rowing. She was a first-team All-American, Western's Co-Female Athlete of the Year in 2009. She was awarded Western's Co-Female Athlete of the Year of the Decade in 2010 and a top 30 finalist for the 2010 NCAA Woman of the Year. When Audrey's partner and now husband Adam moved to Portland for medical school, Audrey joined him and coached collegiate rowing for several years at Lewis and Clark College and the University of Portland. Later, Adam's medical residency took them to Boise, where Audrey earned her Master's of Science in Kinesiology from Boise State University. Her thesis focused on the retention of women collegiate rowers. During this ceremony, we're all reflecting on Audrey's incredible past athletic accomplishments. However, her life's taken a turn away from rowing in recent years. She and Adam now have 2 beautiful children, and it should come to no surprise to her former teammates that Audrey's now teaching preschool music part-time. Every time Audrey and I get to visit with each other, I'm so happy to see her completely content at this stage of her life. And so, Audrey, as you step up to receive this amazing honor of being inducted into Western's Hall of Fame for your past athletic career, Also look to your future and remember, the big game of next week, month, or a year is being won or lost right now, and I think you're winning.
Audrey Coon.
What an incredible honor it is to be here and to be recognized in this way. Thank you. I am so grateful for the unwavering support of my family, many of whom are here and have traveled some distance to be here today. Thank you. Thanks yet again for showing up for me in ways that only family can. I feel so incredibly lucky. Thank you to my friends and teammates, some of you who I haven't seen in 15 years. What a wonderful gift this is to be among so many friends and family all at once. I feel like I'm getting married again. Thank you all for being here and for your friendship. You know how important the years we spent rowing together were, and I am grateful to you for sharing in some of the most incredible moments of my life. You know best of all that rowing isn't an individual sport, and it's because of all of you that we are here today. So please hear me say that I am truly thankful. Thanks to my coaches, John and Carla, who couldn't be here today, and to Paul Madison, who has been such a tireless advocate of mine. Thank you, Paul. I am grateful to the larger Viking community who make WWU athletics possible. And today I got to meet Bob and Connie Deal, which is a big deal. No pun intended. When I first thought of what to include in this speech, I thought I might muse about my experience as a rower and later as a coach. My time as a collegiate rower later inspired my graduate research, where I explored the reasons that novice rowers persist in the sport, which they actually often don't, through the lens of a really compelling theory of motivation, self-determination theory. I won't talk about this for too long, don't worry. Self-determination theory posits that people are intrinsically motivated to do a behavior and demonstrate persistence in that behavior, rowing in this case, when they have three basic needs met. The first, autonomy, or doing something of their own volition. The second, competence, or feeling capable at the sport. And finally, feelings of relatedness or kinship among their peers, in this case, their teammates and coaches. And no surprise, particularly in the sport of collegiate rowing, which asks a lot of an individual, especially someone brand new to the sport and who is often quite young. My research found that those basic needs are really quite important, and if they're left unmet or thwarted for some reason, poor coaching or no team cohesion, collegiate rowers won't persist in the sport. In other words, they quit. And they fail to realize their own potential to live out the collegiate rowing experience in its entirety. From a novice learning the difference between starboard and port, to a veteran athlete who trains and competes at a very high level and enjoys not only the spoils of their own and their teammates' labor, but begins to know themselves quite differently. They see themselves as someone who is capable of going beyond their perceived limits and achieving things that they could have never imagined possible. This is where I would have ended my speech had I written it a few years ago. You see, the spring of 2020 was when I first learned that I would be inducted. And at the outset of the pandemic, with the world rapidly changing, I learned that the induction ceremony would be postponed first for a few months and then indefinitely. It's funny to think about how this speech has evolved in my head since then. And it's remarkable to think about how our lives are forever changed in ways I think now we are not even fully aware of or can't know because those changes are still underway. Before enduring the uncertainty and trauma of the last few years, I would have said that my time as an undergraduate rower was the most challenging and rewarding thing I have ever experienced. Training and competing at such a high level proved to me, above all else, what I was capable of doing and achieving. But now that I've endured the last few years as a parent to a toddler and an infant, I can most certainly say that parenting, in particular during those years when we were all so worried about the world falling down around us, was the hardest thing I have ever done. And I can honestly say that I have never dug deeper. Like many of you, the challenges we face parenting in isolation during a pandemic felt no less formidable than the 4:20 a.m. wake-ups every morning for practice, sprint repeats up Taylor Hill, high-stakes erg tests, or seat racing for a spot in the varsity 8. And yet the small victory of getting my kids out the door with our winter clothes on for yet another outdoor masked play date sometimes felt as sweet as crossing the finish line at Lake Natoma. And now that I think we're on the other side of it all, I can reflect on the experiences that have led up to this moment when I am being honored for this truly incredible achievement amongst the most important people in my life, my family, my coach and colleagues, and the friends and teammates who share in this honor. I know that had I not been tested as a college athlete in the way that I was, trained harder and persisted longer than I ever thought possible, I wouldn't have known that I had the strength and fortitude to carry on during those years of isolation and sadness and uncertainty. Because it is worth remembering that we were not just college athletes. We approached every morning on Lake Samish as an exercise in discipline, excellence, and perfection. Similarly, I didn't want to just parent during the pandemic. Long ago, I had resolved to be a high-performance mom, parenting with the same intentionality and dedication that led us to earn 7 consecutive national championships. Because I already knew how to do hard things and persist in spite of obstacles. That's something I learned as a college athlete. And now that I've come up for air, I find my 2 wonderful children, Eloise and Emile, happy and well-adjusted. And me, I am proud that I persisted. As it turns out, college athletics really does prepare you for life beyond your athletics career. These last few years have been a testament to that, and I am thankful for that experience. My hope is that when we are faced with the next unforeseen challenge, may we all persist, overcome, and celebrate in spite of it all. Thank you all.
That's called knocking it out of the park. You know, I made a mistake. It happens. More now than before. But I was looking at that Sports Illustrated little blurb that they had, and that wasn't really about what you had done at Western. It was talking about the fact that between your junior and senior years, you had rowed with the U.S. Rowing Club national team, or in the U.S. Rowing Club National Championships, and you won a gold medal in the open lightweights, a gold medal in the intermediate lightweight fours, and you also won a silver medal in the intermediate pairs. Okay. Okay, our next inductee is Monika Gruszecki. They're actually clapping for you, not for the fact that I actually might have pronounced the name somewhat right. She participated in women's track and field from 2007 to 2011, and here's her video.
Monika Gruszecki was the first Western female student to win multiple individual NCAA Division II national championships, doing so in the Javelin as a track and field athlete. She accomplished that feat as a freshman in 2007, then was a national runner-up in 2008, and after attending the Philipps University of Marburg in Germany, came back to Bellingham to win a second national title in 2011. A three-time United States track and field and cross-country coaches All-American in 2007, 2008, and 2011 as a Viking, Monika's personal best throw was 54.68 meters, 179 feet 4 inches. She also was a two-time USTF CCCA Academic All-American in 2008 and 2011. Following graduation from Western in 2011 with degrees in German and English literature and a certificate in teaching English to speakers of other languages, Monika took a year to concentrate solely on training for the 2012 Olympics with Javelin guru Duncan Atwood. She competed across North America, but in April of 2012 tore her ulnar collateral ligament and had to sit out the trials. Monika then went on to the Gonzaga University School of Law, graduating in 2016 with cum laude honors. There she was the comments editor of the Gonzaga Law Review and interned in various legal fields, including the King County Prosecutor's Office in Seattle. Monika later integrated legal education with sports regulation by working in Gonzaga's athletics department as a compliance intern. While at Gonzaga, Monika took a javelin pilgrimage in 2015 to Jena, Germany, working with the great Petra Felke. She came home having added 5 meters to her personal best. Through Felke, Monika was connected with 4-time Olympic javelin thrower Karen Smith and trained under Smith throughout the duration of her career. Monika continued under the tutelage of both women, which led to her participating in the 2015 USA Nationals and the 2016 Olympic Trials. Monika then worked as a postgraduate intern in enforcement at the NCAA National Office, where she processed secondary Level 3 cases for all 3 divisions. During her time there, she provided direct legislative guidance and educational resources to over 1,200 member institutions on self-reporting violations, including additional support for legislative relief waivers, rule interpretations, and student-athlete reinstatement. In August of 2018, Monika was named Director of Compliance at the University of Arizona. There she was responsible for providing rules education and interpretations to all Arizona sports programs. Monika stayed at Arizona until 2021 and is currently based in Seattle as a state attorney for the Washington State Division of Child Support. In 1987, Monika's parents immigrated from Poland to West Germany. They arrived in Hamelin in the summer, and Monika was born the following December. In the spring of 1989, the family left everything they knew for a second time and came to the United States, specifically Seattle, when Monika was 1.5 years old. Monika first threw the javelin as a freshman at Meadowdale High School. She also competed in other sports for the Mavericks, including soccer and wrestling. Western Athletics Hall of Fame inductee, Monika Gruszecki.
Introducing Monika is the person who served as their head coach at Western. He just retired following a 36-year career, the longest of any coach in any sport at Western. In all, he received 44 Coach of the Year honors while directing the Vikings to 36 conference championships. Please welcome Pee Wee Hassel.
Well, here it goes. Just so you know, every day is a great day for track and field at Western Washington University. We'll include athletics in that also. But, yeah, go Vikings. I think of Monika, amazing. What a model student athlete, especially for track and field. When I think of all of track and field, Monika encompasses all of that. And she's amazing on that. But before I go further into Monika, I want to congratulate Audrey, Oscar, and of course my buddy Paul. Just great stuff. I think it's amazing that you let them induct you, Paul. I know you resisted. But anyway, I just wanted to get that out of the way. But and then next, I want to thank God for bringing Monika into my life, into Western track and field, because that it's a blessing. Every time I see her, every time I talk to her on the phone, it's a huge blessing, and just picks me up, whether I'm down low or up high. It picks me up higher. It's amazing, and that's the type of person she is. I think of Monika's journey at Western, but then I can see her journey that's going to continue into life even after today, and the amazing things that I think she will do. I think Audrey, and that was the fun thing. In 2011, when she won her second national championship, the next morning we got up early. She was one of the ones resisting me, and we went to the rowing championships there in Sacramento. And it was a long drive. I mean, I could tell you some stories about bathrooms and stuff on the way, but we won't get into that because it was early and they weren't prepared. But that was a fun experience to see that championship in rowing. So I've got to experience it all. I mean, I've going to championships in volleyball or at the national championships and with the fall festival and things like that. Just amazing things in athletics. But Monika, from her time that she came to visit on campus, we went out for dinner last night, and I didn't remember it. I remember, which is amazing, that I remember a recruit coming into my office, but it was Monika, right? And talking, I remember it. What went on, I'm sure, was canned, and she was coming, and we're going from there. She said it was only 20 minutes. I don't know if I've ever talked to a recruit for such a short time, but she must have had somewhere to go. I think it was the party that she was telling me about last night, with the Polish friends that were in town. Anyway, from that to her first year throwing, a javelin thrower in track and field. I'm busy all year. I've got cross country, indoor track, and then outdoor track. But she's got to wait until the outdoor track comes. First meet at University of Puget Sound. She gets on the runway, and what does she do? She hits the national automatic standard to go to the national meet. So we know she's in the national championship that year. So that's her PR for the season, actually. She doesn't throw further that season. But to go to the national meet in North Carolina and to watch her become the national champion, at just a little bit less, and that's what we talked about. Do what you did to get here. That's what we want. And she did it, and she won the national championship. You could say that she was in the right place at the right time in that sense. But it was amazing. I mean, on that and training. I mean, the next year we're training as her sophomore year, and I'm sure she hit the national standard early in the year. But coming to the national championship, which was in LA area, and that was, she was the runner-up that year. But to watch, we're working through that whole year, and back in those times I didn't have cell phones that took good pictures, so I had to take a video camera to practice, and we finally got to practice late in the season because we were stuck, and finally we saw it and got to run stuck, go to the national championship. She PRs at the national championship to be runner-up. That was amazing. The young lady that won it had thrown, 180 some odd feet, and she was this big, tall young lady, amazingly tall. Of course, I'm always looking up to somebody, right? But she did not PR. She threw like 20 feet less than what her PR was. Monika PR'd. That was the thing there. Then on the way home, she tells me she's going to go to Germany, okay? And I encouraged her. I mean, I think that's a great thing. I think it's amazing. Not that she hadn't traveled before. It wasn't that, but she needed something else in her life. And it was great to go see her do that. Come back after she's out of there, she comes back hurt for, of course, you see that 2007 to 2011, okay, so she didn't compete. The next time she competed was in 2010, okay? She did hit the provisional mark that year. She had a shoulder injury to go through, to be able to, I mean, it's not a good, I don't encourage anybody to go through an injury, but you do go through them and it makes you better. And she fought through it, didn't get to go to the national championships that year, but amazing things came from it. Okay, going into her senior year, we go down to the Modesto area for the national championship. Okay, and and we're there, and she's got a big rival just down the street at Seattle Pacific, and they're back and forth all year, and well, not really. I think Monika beat her most every time, but got into her head. I think which was kind of fun to watch, but Monika's in the first flight. They split it into 2 flights, and what does she do? She PRs in that first flight and puts the head games onto this young lady from Seattle Pacific, which struggled. She just barely made the finals. And then she ended up doing okay. But that's Monika. She always was there to compete throughout. I can think of from her freshman year to her senior year, the sincerity into training, wanting to throw far. And as you read her bio, she loved, it was about competition, not just with the other competitors, but with herself. And that's one reason that she's going to go far, because she's always competing and trying to do her best, which is what we always ask of our athletes. Any athlete that we have is to go out and do your best. And that's different from year to year. But that is Monika. And then to read and, her mentors after she left Western, going to Germany, looking up Petra Felke and Karen Smith, who are actually, I'm sandwiched in age just between 2 years. One's 2 years older than me, one's 2 years younger than me, so they're old. They're not old, I'm old. But to do that and to watch that, I mean, Petra Felke she's got the old rules Javelin world record at 80 meters. I don't know how far, that's a long ways. I don't know what the conversion is, but that is a long ways. And Karen Smith was from 76 to 88 was her career for the U.S., and she had qualified to go to 4 Olympic Games. And that's who she pursued to help her become a champion. And she is a champion. She will always be a champion. And Monika, I love you.
Monika Gruszecki.
Well, thank you all for being here. And Audrey, Oscar, and Paul, Congratulations to you guys. It's a real honor to be inducted alongside you guys. When I texted my friends and family and said, I'm going to be inducted in the Hall of Fame, would you like to come? I think, absent 3 people who know what that was, everyone else goes, oh, so what's the Hall of Fame? You know, that's pretty cool. Yeah, we'll be there. What's the Hall of Fame? And I think that's not to belittle the importance of this. It's to truly just highlight the fact that while I may have had this career in sports, the rest of my life and the people within it, they very much know me as a completely different person. And there's an acknowledgement that Monika can throw things far. But there's also a story there. My family and I, when my parents decided to leave Poland and immigrate to West Germany, they stayed there for a few years. I was born in West Germany, and then we came to the States. There's no understanding of high school sports or college sports, and much less a Hall of Fame. So there was kind of a bewildered stare when I asked them to join today. It was very different for so many reasons. My journey than I think what is a typical journey for an athlete. When I was 13, 14, and participating in sports, I'd ask my parents if I can join the wrestling team, and they said, well, okay, do we have to drive you anywhere? No. Oh, okay, then sure. Do we have to pay for anything? No. Okay, well, go for it. Yeah, just keep your grades up, And that was sort of the pattern. When I got a letter to be invited to join the United States Junior Olympic team, I remember kind of going to my parents and saying, yeah, I got this in the mail. And they said, Monika, to jest scam, which in Polish means, Monika, this is a scam. And then, in the college recruiting process, I had to fill out these forms to have my academic eligibility certified so that these schools could pursue recruitment. And to pay for this, it's called the NCAA National Clearinghouse. You had to pay for this national clearinghouse. I think it was like a nominal fee of $50 so that they can pull your transcripts, and some person in Kansas City would look through and make sure that you are actually academically qualified to go and attend a university and have some modicum of predictable success. And when I asked my parents for $50 to be able to pay for this, they said, Monika, to jest scam. Monika, this is a scam. You don't have to pay for a scholarship. This is what our academic counselors told us. And, Mom, Dad, thank you so much for everything that you've taught me. Because quite honestly, I wouldn't be here without observing their tireless efforts to make it on a daily basis. And, it's kismet that I came to Western. I wanted to come to Western because Mount Baker's right there, and I wanted to ski in the wintertime. So that was a very natural flow. But as you can see, this pattern of a kid who just loved doing certain things and had a lot of passion and had very passionate parents who, you saw what drive and determination afforded you. And I didn't have anyone get in my way as far as saying, yeah, no, just keep your grades up. This is a once-in-a-lifetime experience. But I knew that this was a unique opportunity and that I can really sink my teeth into whatever it was that I wanted to do. Javelin throwing was just a small fraction of it. I used to work at this performing arts center. I used to be the person that would turn the lights on. I also worked at the cafeteria so I could get a free meal plan. That was helpful. But I was the co-founder of the German club where we would go to the pub and sing German folk songs because I was a German major. There was a lot. I think the reason that there was such a success here for me at Western was because there was no forcefulness of trying to get me to abandon who I was. And Pee-wee, I am eternally thankful for you for taking everything in stride, especially when, after the national meet, I said, I'm going to go move to Germany now, and you said, okay, you're welcome back anytime. And it takes that. It takes someone like that to have that grace and to have that patience with someone like me. And not only that, it afforded me the opportunity to explore curiosity, because here in javelin throwing, there is no one right answer. As you can see, I am short. I am 5'4" on a good day, and I don't think that I could get away with saying that under oath. I mean, it's more like 5'3" and some change. But there's no one-size-fits-all approach to javelin throwing. You kind of have to go out and look for it. And that was the spirit of the sport, was to have a passion, go forward with it, look for the things, leave no stone unturned for what it is that you can accomplish. And it wasn't until my senior year, I believe, that I actually had like a weightlifting program. Something that I had on paper and I could look at. And I remember, my coach that was working with me on a day-to-day basis at the time, his name's Ben Stenslin. He's not here because he's at a track meet at the moment. But I remember looking at him and saying, why do I have to do this? And he said, well, because it's going to get you better in the season. I'm like, wait, I can get better by lifting and by training? This is actually, the concept was unheard of to me, that there was not only that you can throw things far, because I thought I just had an arm and okay, that's kind of determined. I can only throw about 150 feet and that's it. That's all little Monika can do. He goes, no, you're capable of much more. And we had a workout plan, and sure enough, that year we increased exponentially that distance. I do have to thank Brittany Onstad at Seattle Pacific, because without her constantly being right there pressuring me, I don't think I would have done as well. I never wanted to let Brittany beat me. We're cordial with each other now, but it was a great rivalry for sure. But there was that in itself, that learning experience that you can apply yourself and change something and move to bigger potential than you ever imagined. That was new to me. When I was in elementary school, I think I saw potential as a bad word, because every report card would say Monika has great potential, talks too much in class. And so potential was always followed up by a negative comment. So, but Western taught me that, in my experience here at Western, taught me that I can take potential and cultivate it and grow it into something new. That grew into things that, bountiful fruit that I could have never imagined for myself, becoming an attorney and going to law school. Not only did no one in my family attend university before me, but then to go, all the way up to a JD was just, I'm very thankful to my parents for the encouragement that they provided me in doing that. So it's sort of like I have this, and I wanted to speak to my little cousins, Jamie and, Jamie, where are you? Okay. We've got Georgia and Adam, and I wanted to speak to just the fact that when you look at athletes and their success, it looks like a packaged deal. It looks like it's already done, and they were bound to succeed no matter what. And the difficult thing, looking at that, and I recall myself looking at it, thinking to myself, well, I could never do that. I could never go on to compete at these levels. These are things that other people have. And the thing is, it's just simply not true. You follow a passion, And you set out and you just try your best, and you don't worry about the future too much. You're just doing it for the fun of it, and you never know what will come out of it. When I reached out to Petra in Germany, I didn't know her. She didn't know me. I spoke fluent German, and I just simply asked, I said, "You're kind of my hero. I really would like to learn how you throw so far, because she's pretty similar in size as I am. Can I come and train with you? I would love to learn from you." And she welcomed me with open arms, and I think that's the world that Western allowed me to believe existed, is that if you're kind, and if you're determined, and if you just ask politely, most people do actually want to see you do well and rise along. So I don't think that there could have been a better program for me than at Western. It was certainly meant to be, and there was some strike of luck that this 18-year-old had when she came up on her visit and was like, "Yeah, I like the mountains up here. I think I'm going to join the track team." There was something God sent in there. So thank you all. I appreciate it.
I'd like to, if we could bring up the lights a little bit. Can we bring up the lights? What I'd like to do is all Western Hall of Famers and also Western Hall of Fame spouses, please stand up. One of the neat things that happened during my time at Western as a sports information director was how often I would talk with a Seattle media person, and after they had talked to one of our athletes, how they'd oftentimes just say, "It was such a joy to interview your athlete because they're so well-spoken, so eloquent." I mean, it's amazing. You wonder why I've been here a long time? You're hearing it right now. Our next inductee is Oscar Jimenez, who competed in men's soccer from 2008 to 2011. Introducing Oscar is current Western men's soccer coach, Greg Brisbane. He is preparing for his 10th season as the Vikings head coach and 22nd overall in soccer at Western. He is the program's all-time leader in win percentage and ranks second in victories. Greg Brisbane.
Last fall, Oscar Jimenez completed his 6th professional season as a midfielder for Louisville City FC of the United Soccer League Championship, America's second tier of professional soccer. A first-team All-League pick in 2019, Jimenez is Lou City's career assist leader with 32. Playing for Lou City, Jimenez helped the Boys in Purple to 3 Eastern Conference titles in 2017, 2018, and 2019, 1 regular season EC crown, and back-to-back USL Championship crowns in 2017 and 2018. Prior to Lou City, Jimenez played 1 USL Championship season in 2015 with the Tulsa Roughnecks, following the 2016 season with the Mississippi Brilla of the Premier Development League, where he tied for team scoring honors. The 33-year-old Jimenez lettered 4 years in men's soccer at Western between 2008 and 2011. He left as a program co-leader in assists with 22, leading the team in that category 3 straight seasons. He finished among the top 10 school career leaders in points, 56, games started, 57, and minutes played, 5,811. As a junior in 2010, Oscar enjoyed his best season for the Vikings. Playing in all 18 of Western's matches, he led the team with 7 assists and scored 4 goals. That earned him unanimous first-team All-Great Northwest Athletic Conference recognition, as well as first-team Daktronics All-West Region honors. As a senior for WWU, Oscar appeared in 17 of 18 contests, scoring 2 goals and having a team-leading 5 assists. He was named a second-team GNAC All-Star. As a freshman, Oscar helped Western win the GNAC regular season championship for just the second time in school history. He competed in 18 of the Vikings' 19 matches, scoring 5 goals and having 5 assists. The next season, Oscar saw action in all 20 of WWU's matches, scoring 6 goals with the team leading 5 assists, and was a first-team All-GNAC selection and second-team Daktronics All-West Region pick. Oscar, a 2013 Western graduate, was a volunteer coach for the Vikings in 2013 and 2014. He spent the 2013 season with Bellingham United, being named Most Valuable Player. Oscar played soccer and was a cross-country runner at Mount Vernon High School. 3 times he was named Skagit Valley Herald Boys Soccer Player of the Year, and as a senior, he added Northwest League co-MVP honors. As team captain as a senior, Oscar scored 10 goals and leading Mount Vernon to both league and district titles and the quarterfinals of the Class 3A state playoffs. Western Athletics Hall of Fame inductee, Oscar Jimenez.
All right. Congrats to everyone that's been inducted. Quite an honor. I've known Oscar for several years. Had a pleasure of coaching him when he was a youth on our local club team through his high school years. Coached him at college here at Western. And he was also on my staff after his college career and before his pro venues. As a college coach, we work with many type of athletes. You have your very talented player, you've got your hard worker, you've got your good teammate, and you've got the special player that wins the team games and changes the program. Not all athletes fit all descriptions, and some start as one and grow into the others, 2 to 3. But Oscar from day one checks all those boxes. We had some tough years as a program in 05 and 06, but the 07 freshman class was the start of changing it, and then Oscar's class, the 08 class, really solidified the momentum moving forward as a program here at Western. And Oscar was very instrumental in that change from day one. One of the best qualities I feel Oscar has as a person is his willingness to solve problems. He's very competitive. He was. I know he still is now, in anything that he does. So obviously when he loses, not successful, he gets very frustrated. He can't cross the ball properly, whatever, he's frustrated, but he also tries to fix it. How do I fix the problem? And I relate this to his journey at Lucy right now. I remember when he was out of college, we had conversations that he wanted to go this route and play at the next level. And so there's kind of 3 main points I wanted to get across to him. One, I wanted him to know that I believed that he could do it. Okay, I truly knew that he could play at the next level. Second, I wanted him to know that many people were going to tell him no in this journey. Coaches, GMs, and you just got to find the right fit, and you got to keep at it if you truly want it. And the third is you've got to find a way to separate yourself from others. And so I said, you have to be the fittest guy in the field. And with Oscar, those that you know Oscar, that was not a problem. He's had the patent record for men's soccer for over 10 years. Unfortunately, it was broken a couple of years ago. But and then, you know, he really worked on his left foot. And so in playing both sides of the field, playing multiple positions, and I really think that's a credit to where he's at today. I mean, if you were to turn on the TV and watch him play next week, someone might think that he's actually left-footed, but he's not. He's right-footed. But he's so talented that he can play with both feet, and he worked his butt off to get there. So Oscar, I'm so proud of what you've done so far as a soccer player. So proud of the outstanding man you've become. Your parents have done a fantastic job of raising you. I can't wait to see what the future holds for you, and congrats on making this.
Oscar Jimenez.
Wow, I can't believe I have to go after you two. And then I think the lights got brighter as well, so that doesn't help. I want to start by, congratulating both of you and you, Paul. This is, amazing. I'm also very thankful that my coach let me come here today, because currently I'm in preseason training, and I'm actually glad I'm here instead of there, because it would have been the fourth game in 7 days, and my legs can't handle that anymore very well. I want to thank also the selection committee that chose me for this, because it really caught me by surprise. I've had so many incredible teammates throughout my time, some of them sitting up there. Briz talked about some of the players coming in 2007, and then my class 2008. And I remember coming in with, I believe it was just me, Kellen Brown, and Tyler Bjork in 2008. And I remember coming in and watching Kellen play, and I was like, wow, I have to try to beat this guy, for playing minutes. And I remember one of our first preseason games in Trinity Western up in Canada. Kellen starts the game, and I think you're going to have to remind me later if this is true or not, but I think he chipped the goalie maybe from 40, 50 yards away in a preseason game. And I was just like, wow, this guy, incredible. So, like I said, this caught me off guard, because I've been around so many incredible players where when I heard my name being in the list, I really couldn't believe it. I'm the type of person that tries to pick up little things from every single player that I play with. And I would say being here at Western, that's made me kind of the person I am today. I've picked up so many qualities from not only the teammates I've had throughout my 5 years, but also staff members that work here, athletic coaches and everybody here. That's one thing I think I've picked up from my parents. Trying to learn from people, trying to pick up tendencies that will make you into a good human being. So I also really love what you said, Monika, about your parents, your mom and dad. I kind of share the same kind of backstory. My parents came from Mexico to, create a better life for themselves and also for their families once, they had children. And growing up, I've seen them put in an extreme passion and desire and hard work in everything they've done. My mother, has worked 10 plus, 12 plus jobs, anything that she could do to, help have food on the table for me and my sisters. My dad has kept steady with a job for the past 25 years, working, 6 to 7 p.m. at times, just grueling, tough work. And so I think that's where I learned the hard work. At the same time, coming home from school, watching him sitting in the living room, studying the dictionary because he's trying to learn English, like, that's dedication. That's like passion. And I find myself, when I sit down and I look back at my life, what I've been through, and some of the qualities that I've, garnered from them, it's incredible to see. The hard work, the desire, the determination to learn a second language so you can succeed in this world. So I'm very thankful for them. I love you. I'm also very thankful for Briz and Travis, who isn't here today. They were kind of the first people that saw me play soccer when I was young and kind of recruited me to play here. So they believed in my skill set at the time, which was amazing. And then also they were the first kind of people that got me thinking about higher education, because I think when I was in high school, it was all about having fun and playing soccer. And, I'm still doing that now, which is great, but they got me, they got me interested in the idea of higher education. And so I came here, and the first semester or quarter was shockingly bad in terms of academics, because I thought it was all about soccer. But I quickly learned, with the warning I received, that my grades needed to be better, that in order to play here, you need to actually, work and do schoolwork. So after that, I think I maintained a pretty steady, pretty good GPA, and I learned to enjoy school, to go to classes, to, that's actually one thing I really miss now, being an athlete, is schoolwork and, taking notes and being up here and presenting work that I'm doing. So thank you very much, Briz and Trav. I also am very thankful of my teammates. Like I said before, I picked up a lot of, qualities from all of you that I have carried on to what I'm doing now. One person that's up there is Zagulis. Your leadership when I was a freshman is something that I took in, and now that I'm 33 and the oldest player on my team, which is weird, I use some of those, things that you taught me when you were a senior and I was a freshman, because, you learn as you go on. And with Kellen, I learned a lot of, how to have that little bite to you, how to be edgy, and, no matter your size, because I'm a pretty small guy myself. But so thank you to all my teammates, the guys that are here. Thank you so much. So my road to where I'm at right now with soccer has been really difficult and stuff, but I wouldn't change it for the world, just because I think, I learned everything that I needed to from here, and especially with Briz saying, there's going to be people that tell you no, and people that aren't going to want you to succeed, and even people that are very close to you. So I fought, and, I am where I am now, and I love it, and this day is amazing, and I'm so happy to be here and so incredibly thankful and honored to be in such an elite group of human beings. It's fantastic, and thank you guys so much.
Great job. Before our last inductee, there are some thank yous to be made. This ceremony certainly doesn't happen on its own and without the hard work of a number of people. Behind me on the screen are those people. I'd like to interject something here. Oftentimes I go to people throughout this campus for help. And I just am so blessed that invariably they provide that help and go the extra mile. This campus is pretty cool, pretty wonderful. And I also want to say an extra huge thank you to our own department and how they've gone the extra mile. Especially, I think even more, they always do, but it just seems like they've just been so supportive. I appreciate that. I also want to give a reminder that the inductees will be introduced this evening at halftime of the men's basketball game at Carver Gym with Alaska Anchorage. So if you'd like to be there, that would be awesome as well. Following our next video, which will be our last video, Assistant AD for Compliance and Academics, Butch Kamina, and Director of Athletics, Steve Card, will speak. So here we go.
Paul Madison has been a part of Western athletics since entering the school as a freshman in the fall of 1966. He was the director of sports information for 48 years, 5 as a student, 3 on part-time basis, and 40 full-time, and since retiring in the fall of 2015, has served in a volunteer role as the school's athletics historian. Paul, 73, was a 2011 inductee into the College Sports Information Directors of America, now College Sports Communicators, Hall of Fame, one of only 2 members from the state of Washington. Paul also received the COSIDA Lifetime Achievement Award in 2016, the Western Linda Goodrich Legacy Award in 2015, the Western President's Exceptional Effort Award in 2010, and in 1993, the Ike Pearson Award, given annually by the NAIA Sports Information Directors Association to honor outstanding contributions to the profession. 2 of Paul's top projects as athletics historian at Western are overseeing its Athletics Hall of Fame, as well as the Carver Memories section of its athletics website. The school's Hall of Fame ceremony has become nearly an annual event, with inductions in 44 of the past 49 years. Carver Memories is a compilation of stories about the school's athletics history as seen through various teams, student athletes, coaches, staff, and administrators. Madison served as chair of the GNAC Sports Information Directors Committee for 9 years. He also served 1 year as College Division Representative for the West Region on the COSIDA Board of Directors Association and 2 terms as Area 1 Representative on the Executive Committee of the NAIA SIDA. During his sports information career at Western, Paul received 43 COSIDA and NAIA Publications Awards, including 8 Best in the Nation. He also served 5 years as Publicity Director for the Evergreen Conference, 3 as Publicist for the Northwest Women's Basketball League, and 1 as Communications Director for the Washington Intercollegiate Basketball Association. Paul obtained his bachelor's degree in journalism at Western in 1971, graduating with the school's first class in that discipline. A 1966 graduate of Ferndale High School, Paul received the Rodstrom Scholarship from the Puget Sound Sports Writers and Broadcasters Association in 1969. Paul and wife Jerry Forsberg, who teaches in the English department at WWU, have 1 grown son, Aaron, who graduated from Western in June 2019. Aaron and his wife, Monika, also a Western graduate, live in Tokyo. Western Athletics Hall of Fame inductee, Paul Madison.
I am not Paul Madison. First of all, congratulations to Audrey, to Monika, to Oscar. So much respect for all that you accomplished here, but also all that you've accomplished beyond. And for the privilege of knowing you and the time that you were here. So, I first met Paul Madison in the winter of 1986. I was a sophomore here at Western, and I had a part-time job at the Bellingham Herald in the sports department when the Herald had a sports department. And I was sent to cover a Western basketball game. My boss, Jim Carberry, said, "Find Paul Madison. He's 38 going on 20, and he'll help you with everything you need." Jim was right. Paul, who'd already been here 20 years, was incredibly helpful. And that day was life-changing. I ended up working for Paul. We became close enough friends that we were in each other's weddings. And somewhere along the way, as I was here longer, Paul's longevity became even more remarkable. So I started explaining it as I still do. Paul started working here 3 weeks after I was born. Wasn't a big deal when I was 25 or 30, but I'm 56 now and he's still here. Paul was an amazing SID. You heard all the honors. He found creative ways to get Western athletes recognized regionally and even nationally. Faces in the crowd in Sports Illustrated, ESPYs, all kinds of different things. Paul did everything. And sometimes he even provided pregame entertainment. If you were here at a basketball game in the late 80s and through the mid-90s, as the teams went into the locker room for the last time and the court was empty, this was Paul's opportunity. And Paul would go to the basketball rack, he would grab a ball, he would walk to the intersection of the half-court line and the sideline, hook shots. Sometimes it went in the first time. Rarely did it take more than 3. It was an art. But above all, what stands out about Paul beyond anything else, beyond the hook shots, beyond the big ideas, beyond the incredible work ethic, is his generosity. Paul was always happy to give time to people starting out in sports information to help them get set up. Paul would open his home to people visiting Western for events. Sometimes people he'd never met face to face said, "Just come stay at the house." Even now, Paul gives his time as our athletic historian, and he gives it lovingly. No one has done more to build the WWU Athletic Hall of Fame than Paul Madison. It fills me with joy to see him inducted today.
Carver, Lappenbush, Goodrich, Randall, Metzger, Geyer, Jackson, Smith, Halsell. All names synonymous with Western athletics and its greatness. There's another name to add to that list, Madison. Paul Madison has served this university and the athletics department for more than a half a century. After Paul retired as sports information director 7 years ago, he approached me and we had a conversation about him coming back in a part-time capacity to be our athletics historian. And for the first couple of years, I was actually able to pay Paul for that work. And then it turns out that I wasn't able to continue that, but Paul wanted to continue as a volunteer. And he said, I said, Paul, I can't pay you. And he goes, that's okay. I just need to make sure I have my 10G parking spot. So that kind of puts in perspective what the real priorities are on our campus here with regards to that. So, but he was able to maintain his spot, and I'm thankful that we get to park next to each other every day. But during that time as the athletic historian, Paul, as was pointed out, he does the Carver Memories, and he's done a series of those, and it's on our website, and it's pretty remarkable when you think about the history there and what he's able to document and bring back to life, which is great. And then, as was also mentioned, is that he is the lead on this, the Hall of Fame. But beyond just the Hall of Fame and the athletic historian piece, Paul also volunteers his time to work on some special events associated with Western athletics, particularly those that honor the past and some historical moments. For example, this spring in May, Paul is volunteering his time to work with Hall of Famer Terry McMahon on the Title IX celebration, the 50th year Title IX celebration that will be held in May. And he's worked endlessly on that in terms of reaching out to those student athletes that competed here between 1968 and 1981. He is our connection to our past. He is a walking encyclopedia of Viking athletics. To this day, Western alums will walk into the athletics department, and the first thing they'll ask, Paul Madison around? He's like, yeah, his office is right there. And they're like, you gotta be kidding me. Yeah, no, he's right there. And so, he is literally the first person that people ask about. He is our connection to the past. An example of this is a letter I received yesterday. Opened up my email and I had this letter and then I was asked by this fellow Hall of Famer to read this today. And I think his words sum up how we all feel about Paul. I'll read it verbatim. Dear Paul, of all the grads and players at Western, you are the most deserving of this Western Washington State Athletic Hall of Fame prestigious honor. I personally can't think of anyone presently in this club of men and women that is more deserving of this wonderful tribute. The work and dedication of over 50 years that you have given Western goes unmatched. I would probably be safe to place a bet that of all the universities and colleges in the USA today, you would be in an elite group of administrators who have achieved and have executed such an outstanding track record. Paul, we are also grateful for the hard work and dedication you have shown us all. I can only imagine how many student athletes looking back that would credit you for making such a huge difference in their college lives while attending Western. Paul, you certainly made a great contribution in my life that will never be forgotten. The lives you have touched at Western Washington University cannot be underestimated. As an example, I have received many emails and comments this week from former teammates and friends. In closing, Paul, thanks for your friendship since 1967, when I walked on Western's campus from Western, Kentucky. You greeted me with open arms and a great smile I will never forget. God bless to all your family on this very special day. We are all so proud of your accomplishments, so deserving. With many blessings, Butch Sturrow. I was honored, as is Butch, to be asked to speak on Paul's behalf today. So it is my distinct pleasure to induct Paul Madison to the Western Washington University Athletics Hall of Fame.
Oh, my word. First, Audrey, Monika, Oscar, it's so great to be in the 2023 class with you. You guys are great. Thank you, Butch, for being such a wonderful friend and colleague, and to Steve for your friendship, and for allowing me to continue to be a part of this incredible program. The parking was a key element, but but I really enjoy being up here every day. Before going any further, I want to thank two people in particular. My wife, Jerry, who has been my rock. A lot of people say they married up. I married way up. And I want to thank you so much for your love and support. You can't do this job without support from your wife, or else you're in big trouble. And my mother, Ruth Madison, who passed away in 2008. She was a much-loved administrative assistant in the Ferndale School District at both Mountain View and Custer Grade Schools. She is a big reason I'm standing here today. Thank you, Mom. I'd also like to introduce my four sisters, who are all here today. Connie Deal, raise your hand, okay. Cindy Wilson, Diane Mitchell, and Mary Kay Madison. I just want to thank you for sharing this moment with me. Now, stay calm. They already let me know that I had made a mistake. Another one, sorry. This one didn't involve you, Audrey. This is just on me. And it's like sports information. How can you make such a dumb mistake? But I have my age wrong in my bio. And it really wasn't intentional, which makes it even worse in some ways. I'm not 73. I'm actually 74. And I have a birthday, well, kind of. I'm a leap year. In about 17 days. So that means I'm going to be 75. I can't even believe it. Whoa. Oh. Two words best describe how I feel today. Honored, humbled. How did it happen that a boy born in 1948 in Olean, New York, end up spending the nearly 60 years of his life at Western Washington University? The word I like to use, miraculous. In the mid-1950s, the Olean oil refinery was closing, but the employees, including my father, who was a chemical engineer, were given the opportunity to move to Ferndale, Washington. They were building a new plant there, which was, at that time in the mid-50s, for a company to do that was unheard of. In 1963, when I was registering for high school, Stan Burkhalter, remember that name, a coach who I'd come to know because of friendships with his two sons, came up to me and asked me if I would keep statistics for the sports teams. He knew I loved sports. He also knew I was no athlete. That moment changed my life. And, I would just like to say, I don't know what profession you guys will go in, but a lot of times early on, they went into education, coaching, teaching. Find that person and let them know. It made all the difference for me. 3 years later, my coaches at Ferndale, all of whom had attended Western, asked Western Director of Athletics then, Dr. William Tamaris, if there might be a spot for me. I was hired to keep statistics for the athletic teams beginning fall quarter of my freshman year. Unbelievable. One of those coaches is here today, Mike Kirk. Thank you, Mike. That summer, to earn money for school, I worked for the Western Grounds Department, specifically up at the Ridgeway dorms, weeding, watering, picking up trash. So it's true, I actually did learn about Western from the ground up. When I arrived at Western in the fall of 1966, Western's enrollment was 5,200. The population of Bellingham was 32,000. Red Square was grass. No Fisher Fountain, no Bond Hall, no Miller Hall. In fact, besides the Ridgeway residence halls, there were no buildings south of Carver Gym. We were the south end. Tuition was $88 a quarter. Board and room was $264 a quarter. And in order to graduate, you had to pass a swimming test. Look at the catalog. That almost stymied me. I didn't know how to swim. But I learned. Following fall quarter of my freshman year, the graduate student handling the sports information duties at Western decided that it wasn't for him. I was asked if I'd like to do it. This is my sophomore year, my second quarter of my freshman year. I had never heard of sports information, but after going over the job description, it sounded pretty awesome. So I learned about sports information on the run. It was an answer to prayer. In my spare time, I looked through every student newspaper, every yearbook, the files of all the coaches and athletic administrators, wherever I could find information to build up Western's athletic files, which were virtually non-existent. At that time, Western was primarily a teacher's college. I knew that I wasn't cut out to be a teacher. And an arts and sciences degree in English required a foreign language minor. Not my cup of tea. But prior to my junior year, a gruff former newspaperman by the name of Gerson Miller was hired and a journalism minor established. A year later, journalism became a major, and I took a 5th year and I graduated with Western's first journalism class. I mean, luck? I don't know. Then I worked in the athletics department at Western on a 9-month basis for a couple of years, learning more and more about sports information along the way. Then through the efforts of Mike Barnhart, an assistant to then President Jerry Flora, and others, I was named Western's first full-time sports information director in 1974, a time when no one would have thought that this school would hire a sports information director. Quite a journey, quite an interesting set of circumstances. Since then, it has been my joy to work with incredible athletic directors, assistant ADs, coaches, trainers, game day crews, fellow sports information directors, media members, and many others. You know, that one sentence, I can't talk forever, and that one sentence includes so many people I owe such a debt of thanks to and have meant so much to me. If you fit in that category, thank you so much. I'd kind of like to talk about my coaches. I'll preface this with that my coaches are the best. But let's be honest. Coaches are wired differently. They are driven, intense, and competitive. And as a sports information person, I'm supposed to find them following games for media interviews or to get quotes from them to be used by the media. What fun. So games can go one of basically four ways. We can win by a lot and play well, and the coach is happy. We can win by a little, and the coach is still happy, especially if the win was over a really good team, but not as much as if it's a close win over a bad team. We can lose close. The coach is usually not happy. Or we can lose by a lot, and the coach is very unhappy. Oh, did I mention that coaches are driven, intense, and competitive? Talking with a coach following a game can sometimes be a fun thing not be a fun thing to do. And in my early days, the only way to get a result of a road game was by a phone call with the coach. Some of you might say, well, just talk with them when they win. But the media's view is that they want the result, and quotes, win or lose. This is when sports information can get a little interesting. But I can tell you, invariably, my coaches were always supportive, and I can't thank them enough. Thank you, guys. Wow. You made my job not necessarily easy, but much easier than it could have been. Every day, I'm excited to come up to campus with a checklist of things I want to achieve. Rarely did I get through that checklist in my sports information days, but I worked hard trying. I pride myself on getting things done. That was what I thought was my best characteristic. I know this sounds strange, but I am so thankful for the late times, many times after midnight, when I would walk out of the north entrance of the old Carver Gym and walk to my car, seeing the moon over Seaholm Hill, tired, but with a great feeling of satisfaction over what had been accomplished that day. That meant a lot to me. I close, but I'm really not going to close, with a huge thank you to Western student athletes, past and present. You are why I'm here. I mean, Audrey, Monika, Oscar. What can be more fun than that of working with these kind of people? And there's so many more of them. It's amazing. This isn't just, they're incredible. But we have, just to be able to work with everybody is just, they all have their own. Anyway, I just want to say it's just great to work with our student athletes. I think I could have said that a little less, yeah, anyway. Nothing makes me feel prouder than to see you or our team honored. You keep me motivated and young. 75. In my early years, many of our student athletes would go on to careers as teachers and coaches, helping thousands of young people at all grade levels. Now they continue to go out and help people, also thousands, I'm sure, but in a number of different fields. Recently, we've been faced with the obstacles of renovation at one time, about 6 years ago, and then more recently, COVID. How have our student athletes responded? with remarkable performances athletically and academically. Our student athletes are incredible on the playing surface, in the classroom, but most of all as people. Nothing has been more rewarding than to chronicle your successes and tell your stories. I want to throw something in here. A few years ago, Jim Sturk started a scholarship in my name. I mean, talk about being humbled and honored. He started it in my name, and it was a very generous donation. And athletes have donated to that. And this winter, one of the volleyball players, Kylie Honrud, who happens to be a Ferndale High School graduate, I didn't have anything to do with that, was the first recipient. I mean, talk about a gift that keeps on giving. Just amazing. Thank you. So I can't thank all the people that contributed to that enough. That is above and beyond, and I appreciate it. I also want to thank my successor, Jeff Evans. I used to pride myself on the fact that, I probably wasn't very good at, I was pretty good at a lot of things, but I wasn't great at any particular thing. And he is great at a lot of things, and he does a great job, and I'm so glad that if I was going to pass the baton, that's a good person, a great person to pass it to, so I thank him. I really don't believe the position could be in better hands. And to be honest with you, I couldn't do the job now. With all the technology and all the different things that are going on, it's just, it would be beyond anything I could do. It's just changed so much. That's why his title is Director of Athletic Communications. It's not sports information anymore. And it's because of all the different things that have happened. It's amazing. Thank you. Okay, I'd like to have all the class of 2023 come on up, grab your plaques, and we'd like to have a picture with all four of us together. Are we okay here, Michael? You're in the middle. Yeah. Okay, so thank you so much, everyone, for attending. You are the best. Appreciate it.